What's good, Commanders fans? Just want to give a quick shout out to
This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
today's live bet to you by BetUS. We're going live. Not like Shannon Sharp tonight. We're gonna go live where I plan live, and I know I'm going live. Just had to get that joke out the way. But yeah, just wanted to recap a little bit of the game and looking forward to the Giants game and just get the pulse of you guys. Just a temperature check. We got to find our north. Rebuild slash recalibration. So I'm gonna be on live for about 45 minutes to an hour, just chop it up with you guys. Just see how you guys are feeling. I'm gonna try to get back to going live at least once or twice a week for sure. Get some guests on here too, and then go over the injury report and whatnot, and just some things that we've seen and heard over the past couple of days. Definitely a disappointing start to the season for sure. We knew it was a rebuilding slash recalibration kind of year, but I didn't think it was gonna look that bad. I mean, I knew the defense, the secondary was underwhelming, and we knew that was going to be a struggle against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. But I didn't think they were going to come out as unprepared and miss as many tackles as they did. And Cade York is awful. Thank goodness he got released, so that didn't help. And then Dan Quinn with the clock management and 2-point conversion decision making didn't help either. And Jayden, he looked good with his legs, but passing wise, there's some things that he does need to settle down and see for sure. So there's some improvements that he needs to make. But he was the best rookie out there last week compared to Bo Nix, Caleb Williams. Who else was another rookie that was out there? Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, and then I feel like there's another rookie that played out there too, but I just can't remember at quarterback. I think that might be the only two guys that played quarterback that were rookies that played the quarterback position. He played a lot better than those other guys. He played it better than those other guys for sure. But will he win Rookie of the Week? We'll see. I know Brian Thomas had a good day. Xavier Worthy looked good out there because I know the Commanders page was asking people to vote for Jayden Daniels, which I definitely will do. But we'll see if he does. But there's a lot of improvements we got to make. This is a do or die game against the Giants, man. I hate to say must win game, so early in the season, but this is a must win game. It is what it is. I mean, if they start off 0-2 and you lose to Daniel Jones, who got booed by the Giants fans while leaving and going to his car saying that he's awful and that they want $1 million from him. They want $1 million from him, and they were burning his jersey in the parking lot. You can't lose to that guy. You just can't. I know he's beating us. He's 5-1-1, but you got to beat Daniel Jones. You just have to. You cannot lose to the Giants, which it's going to be tough, guys. We lost to Tommy DeVito. We lost to Tyrod Taylor in the past, so it's not going to be an easy game at all. So, but all right, let's get to some of these comments. Outdoors with JV. What's up, man? What's going on, man? Yes, I am online now. I was not able to go live last night because I was a little under the weather, but I am here now, guys. Want to check in with you guys. Sonny Ross says, not the one from the Bills. Yes, sir. You already know. He stole my name. I'm the real Ed Oliver. You know he stole my name. And Shattered Limerick. What's up, man? Adam Peters needs to step it up. Letting Fuller, Sly, Sweat, and Chase Young go. Not pursuing a kicker, wide receiver, cornerback. He Shattered Limerick said he sucks. So I think it's a little too far. And I did want to talk about the report that Adam Peters was hot. Lake Lewis said that on a couple of shows this week, saying that Adam Peters was visibly hot and visibly upset after the game. And I'm kind of like, okay, he's upset, which I like. I like the fire. I like the passion. I like that he's upset and he's upset. And another thing I will talk about too is I already said this in my videos, my reaction videos. There's a lot of sayings over the off season, like, doing hard stuff with good people or violent football. We didn't see any of that from Joe Wood Jr. We didn't see any of that. Joe Wood Jr. was talking about it. Dan Quinn was talking about they want to be violent. They want to take the ball away. Ball is life. Ben St. Juice with a drop interception. And, guys running wide open. Jalen McMillan running wide open. Like, they could have put up 50 points, really. They should have. The Bucs really could have put up 50 points. Jalen McMillan dropped a pass, and Baker Mayfield overthrew him. Like, they had a couple of opportunities where we got very fortunate. I'm not going to say lucky, but we got fortunate, and they could have scored. So it could have been uglier than what it was defensively. Towards the end, they got gassed, and Bucky Irving started running all over him. Bobby Wagner didn't look good. Emmanuel Forbes, we know what he is. We knew he was bad coming in, and he just basically confirmed it with a double penalty. It's very hard to do that. I haven't seen many players have a double penalty on one play, a face mask and a pass interference. And now he has a wrist injury, so he's going to play on Sunday, but he has a wrist injury. So we'll see. Is he going to be benched? Is he going to be limited? Is Noah I going to get more snaps than him? Michael Davis needs to play more. They brought him here, so play him. Just like Noah Brown, you brought him here, play him. Why is Noah Brown inactive? Why is Michael Davis not getting any snaps? Like, stuff's not adding up. These guys need to play. Like, they signed him here for a reason. So if Emmanuel Forbes not ready to play, Ben St. Juste is not ready. And I thought Ben St. Juste was okay, but Michael Davis needs to see the field. He needs to see. I don't see any reason why he's not on the field. Noah Igbenogbe did a decent job. He did an okay job filling in for Emmanuel Forbes when they benched him. But Emmanuel Forbes, yes, he is who he is. And I just don't think he's going to improve at all. I think he'll be – and, people are saying that he wasn't as bad as everybody's saying he was. That may be true. That the Chris Godwin first down catch, that wasn't terrible. But the double penalty face mask was bad. And then Jalen McMillan beat him, and Baker Mayfield overthrew him. So he got fortunate there. And then he let the pass go over his head to Trey Palmer. So it was rough. And then PFF graded him as the worst defensive player. And, you look at the tape and you look at him play, and he definitely earned a bad PFF grade. He had a 33.3 PFF grade. He definitely was. He struggled out there. Just to be nice, he struggled. And they have a good receiving core, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. So it was to be expected. But, we wanted to see some improvement from Emmanuel Forbes. But Ron Rivera draft pick, first-round pick, he's not. I highly doubt he's on the team next year. Jamin Davis is trying. Jamin Davis played pretty well. But to get back to shattered Limerick here, Adam Peters needs to step it up. Lennon Fuller, Joey Sly, Sweat, Chase Young go. Chase Young, I like Chase Young, and Chase Young played pretty well with the Saints against the Panthers. The Panthers are the worst team in the league. They really are. We got to beat the Panthers too. Like, we can't lose to the Panthers in the next couple of weeks. We play the Panthers in our homecoming game. That's a game where that's a must-win game. You can't lose that game. That would be an embarrassing loss to lose to the Panthers at home. Chase Young, I was fine with that move. I don't think from what I heard, Chase Young didn't want to be here either. So it is, that situation. I think that was kind of the right move. Montez Sweat, I would have liked to keep him here, and he actually said he wanted to stay too. He said he was surprised by the trade a little bit. Montez Sweat has kind of gone on some rants and talked to the media a lot about his last year with the Commanders and how the team mailed it in and Ron basically mailed it in and stuff like that. Joey Sly. Yeah, we probably should. In hindsight, yes, we should have kept him. They wanted to move on from him and bring in Brandon McManus. Brandon McManus has the allegations. There are reports that the case has been dismissed or it's going to be dismissed. So he may be available in a couple of weeks. So I was like, hey, man, like if this guy, Austin Seibert, is terrible, just like Cade York, which I'm not high on Seibert either. I'm not very confident in him. I think he'll be a little bit better than Cade York, but that's not saying much. Then McManus, hey, I mean, if you want to bring him in after a couple of weeks when the dust settles with the case and it's dismissed and all the air is clear, then you might want to consider that's how bad the kicking situation is that you may have to go back to him. And if everything's cleared up. And then letting Fuller walk, yeah, I kind of want to keep Kendall Fuller too, especially with how bad our cornerback room is. I think we have the worst cornerback room in the league. I think we have the worst secondary in the league. Jeremy Chin didn't look too hot out there. He didn't look great. Quan Martin played pretty well. He was tackling, wrapping up. But, yeah, I mean, letting Kendall Fuller walk, I wasn't crying over that, but I'd rather keep him than, the guys that we got on the field right now. And I thought there were some corners out there that were available that Adam Peters could have been more aggressive and went out there and got on a one-year deal. And I said that multiple times before the season started. When Emmanuel Forbes got beat in that Jets game by a third-string wide receiver and a second- or third-string quarterback for a touchdown, I was like, yeah, you got to get somebody else up in here. There were guys available at that time that they could have signed. And then Ben St. Juste being beat by River Kraft in the preseason game by the Dolphins, I was like, yeah, you got to bring some guys in here, man. This cornerback room is just not good enough. But the draft next year, they got to draft a corner in the first for 3 rounds, or they got to get somebody. They probably have to do both. And this year coming up, this offseason, Adam Peters, he's going to have a lot of money in free agency. There's a lot of guys on one-year deals that are going to be their deal's going to be done. There's going to be money freed up. He had money last year, but I get it's a rebuilding year, recalibration. But next year, he does need to be more aggressive. He needs to be more aggressive and bring some guys in that can play, some more talents and some more blue-chip players rather than just bringing in Dallas guys and, guys that we're familiar with and whatnot, or the coaching staff's familiar with. You got to go out there and get some guys that can play. So nothing against, the one-year deal guys that we brought in this year or whatever, or sticking with the Ron Rivera guys that were drafted by Ron and, haven't worked out so far. But, yeah, Adam has to be more aggressive. He does. And if he wants to be hot after games, he's got to look himself in the mirror too. next year. Like if he's still hot after, you got to look at yourself in the mirror. You got to look at the people that you brought in and the people that you signed and the people that you drafted. So that's my take on Adam Peters, allegedly being hot or reportedly being hot after the game. But yeah, shattered limerick is still too early to say that he sucks. Like there's nothing yet that you can go off to say he's bad or not. The only move that I can really pinpoint right now that I didn't like is the trade for Cade York. And even that is kind of nitpicking because you get the 7th round pick back. I didn't like the Cade York trade at all because I was like, Cade York's not good. He got beat out by Dustin Hopkins. There's a reason why Cade York didn't play last year at all. I was like, he's not good. I'm not going to be excited over getting Cade York. But, you look at the circumstances, trying to get a kicker at this time in August, September, like you're not going to find a great option, a great kicking option. You're just not. So Adam Peters he was in a tough spot because of the Brandon McManus spot. But that's like the only move I can say that I'm disappointed in so far. And just not being aggressive with the cornerback situation, just not being aggressive in the wide receiver position. Maybe he could have been more aggressive getting some more weapons in and whatnot. But, he ended up trading Jahan Dotson and getting back a 3rd round pick and a couple of 7s. All right. Sonny Rawson says but I do like the draft. Mikey Sanders still struggled on Sunday, so we'll see if he plays better. But he was basically baptized by Chris Godwin. They have a really good receiving core. This week should be easier for Mikey Sanders still, even though Wan'Dale Robinson is a good wide receiver. Malik Neighbors is a good receiver. It's just the quarterback's not good. But the quarterback, when he plays us, he wakes up. It's like a holiday for him when he sees the Commanders on the schedule. It's like the only time we're basically the only team that is keeping Daniel Jones in the NFL. If it was not for the Commanders, Daniel Jones would probably be out of the league right now. Rightfully so. He rightfully so be out of the league. We have been saving his career the last couple of years. We really have. But yeah, Mike, the draft so far, it's too early to tell to say that he sucks. That's just way too early, Shattered. It's way too early to say that right now. It's way too early to say that. Sonny Ross says that one huge Redskins fan. Sonny Robinson says Limerick had no control over Sweat and Young. Easy, man, let him cook. So yeah, like I said, there was a lot of stuff that Ron just left here that was just really bad. He said that he's going to get a ring in the mail. He's definitely not going to get a ring in the mail at all. He's not going to get anything in the mail from the Commanders at all. The drafts have put Adam in a bad spot, and Adam knew what he was getting into coming here. It's going to be a 2 to 3 year process. It really is. Sonny, what about the others listed? What cooking has he done so far? Yeah, he hasn't cooked up much. I mean, he's gotten some draft capital with the Jahan trade. He got some draft capital a little bit with the John Ridgeway trade, even though he attached the 7th round pick to John Ridgeway. He got the 6th round pick back. Right now, I think we have about 9 or 10 picks, and we'll see what else he cooks up. But I think, drafted Jayden Daniels. You already had the 2nd pick of the draft. Ben Sinnot's a good pick, in my opinion. It's too early to tell. Mikey Sanders still is a good pickup. And then Jerzon Newton. I will kind of question that pick right now, but once he gets on the field, I think we'll see the impact that he can make. But did you draft damaged goods? That's the only question. That's another question mark that I have Adam Peters right now. Knock on wood. Did you draft a guy that may have lingering injuries? Is that why other teams pass up? Is that why he dropped from the 1st round to the 2nd round? So we'll see what happens. He did not participate in practice this week. I will go over the injury report quickly sometime during the show, but I'm a big fan of Adam. I like the hiring of Adam Peters, but there's a few things with every GM that you can be like, okay, it's a head scratching move. It's a head scratching move here and there. Let's see here. We got a donation here from AJ SCP 003. What's up, man? Thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. When do you think, if at all, to draft a kicker? I would not draft a kicker. I don't like drafting special teams guys. Ron Scarman, I know it's a different regime, but I don't like drafting because you look at the guys, both guys that we brought in that were drafted. Cade York was a 5th round pick. Actually, Cade York might be a 4th round pick. I'll look it up. But Cade York was drafted. And he got released basically after his rookie season. He got released from the Browns. He was a 4th round pick. They spent a 4th round pick on Cade York. I don't like drafting special team players. I don't like drafting kickers and punters and long snappers. I don't like trading up for long snappers. And I'm just not a fan of that. I don't like drafting special teams players. That's just my take on it. I'd rather spend it on a 4th round pick. I'd rather spend it on a receiver, a tight end, a running back in the 4th round, or a tackle in the 4th round, linebacker, defensive end. That's just my take. I would rather not spend a pick like that. Like the Browns are probably kicking themselves for spending a 4th round pick on Cade York. Like they had him for 1 year in 2022. He went 75% from 75% his rookie year on field goals, 24 for 32. He was 4 for 7 from 50 yards away, 6 for 8 for 40 to 40. Like Cade York was awful, man. 9 for 12, 30 to 39. I hate to spend so much time talking about a kicker, but usually don't spend a lot of time speaking about a kicker, but we have to. We just have to. And then he kicked the ball out of bounds. But his rookie year with the Browns was not good. And there's a reason why the Browns got him up out of there and brought in Dustin Hopkins, the guy that we got rid of. And I talked about the kicker carousel, how things connect and whatnot. Austin Siebert was replaced by Michael Badgley, a guy that we brought in. And Riley Patterson at one time was with the Lions, if I'm not mistaken. I know we just had Riley Patterson on the roster, and he was awful. Riley Patterson he was with Detroit at one point. So it's so funny how the kicking carousel goes and the connections with Washington for sure. But yeah, I would not draft a kicker. I know it's looking dire and bad at this point. And Austin Siebert, if I had to bet money, I don't think he'll be on the roster. I mean, the odds are against him being on the roster next year. So, but I'll just be thankful. I'm thankful that we have a good punter in Tress Way. We have a good returner right now in Jamison Crowder. So special teams, like we have a good special teams. Like Jeremy Reeves is good at special teams, and Nick Ballore is a good special teams player. So we had, other than kicker, like everything other than kicker, we're really good on special teams. Like Tyler Owens, if he plays, he's a good special teams guy. We have a couple good special teams players, but the kicker is the big question mark on special teams right now. Larry Izzo is a good special teams coach. Like we have a good special teams staff and unit, but the kicker is just like the big weakness that we have right now when you look at it. But thank you for the donation. To answer your question, yes, I would not draft a kicker at all. We do have the luxury of picks. So we have 3 7th-round picks. I mean, if you want to spend one of the 7ths on a kicker, then okay, maybe I consider that. Bloodshot Sports, shout out to him. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel, man. A good content creator, good Commanders content creator. He's been doing Commanders content for years and years and years. So make sure you guys check him out. Always giving a real talk, real honesty, everything about the Commanders. He says, if JD5 stays healthy, he's going to be a problem. I think so too, man. I mean, look how electric he is with his legs. He had a couple scrambles for one was for 11 yards. He's just got to keep the helmet on. That is a concern. The helmet came off twice, and instead of sliding, he's tumbling and rolling. So, I mean, he's been able to get down. Antoine Whitfield did have the helmet-to-helmet hit on him, and he was able to shake that off. We got into the red zone after that hit. We scored a touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns in his rookie debut on the ground. The only thing is throwing the football. He hit the deep ball touch was something that we raved about him in college. He looked good with the deep ball pass to De'Ami Brown in preseason, but he missed it to Terry McLaurin. He's got to get the jitters out. This is the second time that we've seen him have jitters on his first throw. He had jitters on the pass to Austin Eckler where he overthrew Austin Eckler. Then the first throw of the game, he throws the ball behind B-Rob. So he's just got to get those jitters out of him. I think he's starting to get the jitters out and just settle down and just focus on what he's seeing downfield. I know Dan Quinn said he wants to see him run to throw instead of just run to run. So maybe if he takes his time while running and seeing why guys are open, because while he's moving around, guys are going to get open because there's just so much chaos going on when he's running around. Like he's just so elusive and he can extend drives because he's just so talented. He's so elusive and he's so athletic. Like he looks like he could really run track for sure. He's so quick and so fast. I mean, like he was running for first down after first down, and they just had no chance of getting him because he was just so quick. It was like a cheat code with his legs, how quick he was. But we wanted him to, and he did miss Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz was open over the middle of the field. That's where he had a sack fumble. He fumbled 3 times. He's got to clean that up, especially against the Giants, where the turnover battle is going to be so important on Sunday. It's going to be so important. That's really going to be the tail of the tape. I know it's a cliche, but for us, every time we play the Giants, when we lose the turnover battle, we lose against the Giants. But yes, he will be a problem. And I like I said, I think he was the best rookie quarterback out of all the guys last week. And everybody sees how elite he can be because it's going to be tough guard. When you know a quarterback can run like that, you got to account for him, B-Rob, and Austin Eckler as runners. But I do want to see him pass the ball well. I do want to see him improve throwing the football because there were some guys open. It's not like guys weren't just open the whole time. Now, I know there were some advanced metrics showing that, according to NFL Next Gen Stats, 0 Washington receivers were in the top 60 in week 1 in separation or expected yards after the catch. So that Next Gen stat said that guys were not open. There was another stat that said Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver leaders by separation score in week 1. Luke McCaffrey was 7th in that category. So that showed that Luke McCaffrey was getting some separation. Terry got separation on the pass that Jayden did miss. Number 1 was Mike Evans. He was a leader in the separation score per fantasy points data. And Ben St. Juste was there though. Like he was there on both Mike Evans' touchdowns. Ben St. Juste was there, but of course Ben St. Juste is Ben St. Juste, and he never turns his head around. And Mike Evans just made a heck of a play, and Baker Mayfield made a heck of a play. We gotta wrap up and tackle too this week on Daniel Jones. Guys were not able to wrap up and tackle Baker Mayfield. He looked like Vanilla Vic out there. It was ridiculous. He really did. He had a heck of that was a career day for Baker Mayfield. He had 4 touchdowns and had a heck of a day. And he was running the football too. But Jayden's gonna be fine. He's just got to clean some stuff up. Just settle down, get the jitters out. Trust in what he's seeing. Hit the check down. Zach Ertz open over the middle, quickly get him the football. He's gonna get some opportunities with Terry down the field, so you got to hit him down the field. You got to connect on that pass. Stuff like that, you just got to connect. All right. 50% Pain says the only ring Ron is getting in the mail is a ring pop. That too, and a lump of coal for sure. That's all he deserves. That's all he deserves. He does not deserve any type of ring from the Commanders or anything good. YT Rennie says, I hope this Giants game we go to Deontay Banks. Yeah, Deontay Banks got cooked. He was getting cooked by Justin Jefferson. Everybody gets cooked by Justin Jefferson, but I remember Deontay Banks vividly talking trash, saying like, where was Terry at and all this stuff. Deontay Banks had a 47.5 PFF coverage grade against the Vikings. He gave up a touchdown to Justin Jefferson, so he struggled. Yeah, he struggled on Sunday against the Vikings. So yes, I would love to see Terry get some revenge on Deontay Banks for sure. Even though he's a Maryland product, he went live and he was pressed to say, where was 17 at, and was talking trash and whatnot. So I would love to see them go at Deontay Banks. Like Cliff Kingsbury, you can't be like Eric Bieniemy. You have to target your best player. You have to manufacture touches for Terry McLaurin. You look at the Rams, the way they get the football to Cooper Kupp. You look at the Vikings, the way they get the ball to Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Like these guys are getting 5 to 6 catches a game. You look at the Eagles with A.J. Brown. They make sure A.J. Brown gets the football. They make sure Devontae Smith gets the football. They make sure their best players get the football. That's what you have to do. And Terry's a nice guy. Like he's a guy that doesn't complain. That's the thing. Like, and I'm not telling Terry to go out there and complain, but he's got to make his presence felt for sure. You got to get 17 in football. He's the best. He's the best player you got on offense. You got to get him the football, whether it's the screen, something to get him warmed up, a quick slant, dig route, something. You got to get this guy the football. You got to get him the football in space. Giants pass rush gives Jayden trouble, and Daniel Jones cuts up our terrible secondary. That's possible. It really is. It is possible. That's highly possible. They got a good unit. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau's legit. Dexter Lawrence is legit. Brian Burns is a big free agent signing that they made, so they have a good defensive line for sure. Did they train for Brian Burns? Whatever. They added Brian Burns to their defensive line. They have a good defensive line. That's one thing I'll say. They didn't have a good day against Sam Darnold, but, we'll see. Cornelius Lucas, Brandon Coleman, are they going to split snaps again? Who's going to start? Cornelius Lucas, a lot of people say he was trash, but he was okay. He was fine. Like he did okay enough, and then Jayden's going to do a lot of things to make the offensive line better. But yes, he has to be better. He has to be ready for the pass rush. He has to be ready for the pass rush and use his legs against that pass rush as well. But the Giants do have a good pass rush. Their secondary is iffy, but their pass rush is their strength. And Kayvon Thibodeau, we cannot let Kayvon Thibodeau have a career day like he always does. He always has a career day against us. And Charles Leno's gone now because that's the guy he used to dominate. So let's see if Cornelius Lucas and Brandon Coleman do a better job against Kayvon Thibodeau, because I'm tired of seeing Kayvon Thibodeau get 2 sacks or a sack or a strip fumble against us every game. Like it happens every game with Kayvon Thibodeau. I remember last year Kayvon Thibodeau thanked Charles Leno for helping him get to 10 sacks, and that was embarrassing. Ben says our receivers suck besides Terry McLaurin, which we already knew coming into the season. Yeah, so De'Ami Brown, he put out a documentary to only put up 0 catches and 0 yards. He was dancing in practice today from a clip that I saw, so hopefully De'Ami Brown can give us a better performance, or hopefully guys can get more opportunities. So Jayden has to see guys down the field as well. He has to take it. This time is Jayden going to run to pass? But at the same time, if Jayden sees a lane that he can get 10 yards, go ahead and get the 10 yards. But if you do run around and you see Terry McLaurin's wide open down the field or has separation down the field where it can be rather than being a 15-yard run, it can be a 25-yard catch and run for Terry, then that's what Dan Quinn was basically alluding to. Are there opportunities like that could have happened on Sunday against the Buccaneers? Will there be opportunities like that could happen against the Giants? Jayden Daniels has to, make those decisions and improve upon that. But I think Terry's going to get opportunities against Deonte Banks, and they brought in Adoree Jackson at the last minute. So I think their secondary can definitely be had. They do have some talented guys on their roster. But, yeah, Dexter Lawrence is going to be huge. Tyler Biadasz versus Dexter Lawrence is going to be a huge matchup. Last year, I'm bringing up last year a couple times already. But, yeah, Nick Gates was getting cooked by Dexter Lawrence. And that's going to be a big part of the game. That's going to be a huge key is containing Dexter Lawrence, containing that pass rush. Receivers, do they suck besides Terry? Noah Brown, let's activate Noah Brown. Let's see what the guy's got, man. I don't see the point of bringing him here and him being inactive. Like, he's practiced already last week. He got in reps with Jayden after practice, so I was a little surprised that, he was inactive. I was like, what's up with that? That's really odd, but I really hope that he plays this week. I'm not saying that he's going to be going out there getting 10 catches for 100 yards or anything like that, but I just think you need another threat out there other than Terry McLaurin. So the game plan is not just like, oh, we're going to take away Terry McLaurin. So I do think Noah Brown definitely needs to be out there and get meaningful snaps. He definitely needs to get at least 30 snaps. Getting back to Dyami Brown, I have a little bit of faith in Dyami. I'm not going to fall into the trap and watching Instagram videos and documentaries and Twitter videos where he's on the jugs machine and he's sitting down catching 500 footballs a day and whatnot. I'm not going to fall into that trap, but can he at least be productive? Can he get more than 12 catches? That's what I want to see. Can he at least give us 30 catches this year and like 300 yards and give me like 2 or 3 touchdowns? That's what I want to see from Dyami Brown. Can he at least be productive a little bit here and there? Raymond Johnson said, I want to see Noah Brown on the field. Yeah, me too, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, we bought him here for a reason. Like, we got to get this guy on the field. He could be very impactful. Let's drink some H2O here. Zulu says, I almost said Christopher McCaffrey. I want Luke McCaffrey to grow so badly into a future wide receiver one. I honestly think he can if he develops well. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he according to the next gen stats, he really did get separation. And, should he have thrown the football on that trick play? I can see why he didn't throw the football on the 3rd and 18. He's supposed to lateral back to Jayden Daniels. I did see there was 2 guys in the vicinity because everybody's like, oh, Jayden was so wide open. I don't think he was as open as people say. But, I think Luke McCaffrey has some potential there. Like I said, wide receiver leaders by separation score in week 1. Luke McCaffrey was 7th. In the whole NFL, so that's pretty darn good. Like I guess apparently he was getting separation per that next gen stats metric there. So we'll see. Ben said, "I'm with you. As special teamers should never be drafted." 50% pain says Luke is our ticket into getting Christian to come here. Christian McCaffrey's not coming here anytime soon. I highly doubt that. He has a Achilles injury right now, but he's not going to be back. I don't think he's ever going to come here for sure. Tech Mark B says, don't speak ill of Terry, not cool. I don't know who was talking bad about Terry McLaurin, but he's a dog. I mean, he's a captain. He's the best offensive player on the team. I mean, he's been really good with bad quarterbacks like Case Keenum, Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace, Heineke, Garrett Gilbert, Alex Smith, Carson Wentz, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, we can name all the quarterbacks he's played with over the years and over Jacoby Brissett, Sam Howell. Like, he's played with like 10 – Colt McCoy a little bit too. Like, he's played with so many quarterbacks. Like, it's just crazy. He's seen so many. He's seen a couple of coaches come through here. He's seen a couple of offensive coordinators come through here. Like, this guy has played like with so many different people and receivers and quarterbacks. Like, Terry's going through a lot here, and he's been nothing but a professional. He doesn't complain, anything like that. He just goes out there, puts his helmet on, and mosses people. That's what he does. He's a contested catch king. So nobody can really say anything bad about Terry McLaurin. He doesn't complain. He just comes to work and plays hard. Like, you don't see him doing things like Brandon Ayuk, excuse me, and what Jamar Chase has done and other receivers, Stephon Diggs. And, like, he doesn't scrub his social media of Commander stuff. Like we don't hear anything like that from Terry. And Terry just goes out there and works hard. And he had to go through Bieniemy last year. Like he's been through a lot for sure. He's been through a lot. Legendary_1 says, as a 32-year-old fan, we know nothing about rebuilding, so y'all have to chill and let everything just be what it is. We are not a win now team. Johnny Newton is not for this year, but for the Legendary_1, I'm kind of like, honestly, Jerzon Newton, man, like we'll see what happens this week. Like if he doesn't play this week, then yeah, it's kind of like you might as well just put him on IR for a little bit, like because it's going to get to that Curtis Samuel situation, and I have a weird feeling it may get to that. He did not participate today, and we'll see. I mean, because it's like the injury that because they put foot on there, like before, excuse me, with Johnny Newton, before it was the preseason, I think, and they said he had a soft tissue injury. Like we didn't even know about the other foot. So of course we all knew about the foot that he hurt at Illinois, and then we get a rookie mini camp. He has a boot on the other foot. He has surgery on the other foot. Now a couple months later, he has a soft tissue injury. Now we get to the week of the game, and he doesn't practice. They're like, oh, we're gonna try him out on Friday, see what happens. They try him out on Friday. Friday evening, they say, oh, he can't go. So it does kind of remind me of Curtis Samuel. That I know it's a different injury with a hamstring, but we'll see what happens with Jerzon, man. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Unfortunately, Jordan McGee is on IR right now, or PUP or whatever. He's out the first 4 games or whatever it is. But Johnny Newton, like, man, we'll see. We'll see what happens this week because we could definitely use him against Daniel Jones. We could use him against anybody for sure. Like, give Deron Payne a break. Give John Allen a break. All right, guys. Quickly, I do want to go over some things last week and see you in a second. Go over some of the player props that we put in last week. Shout out to BetUS for sure. Make sure you guys sign up for BetUS. They got a good deal going on right now, guys. First-time users, you get a 150% bonus on your first 2 deposits, up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. Fastest payouts in the industry using BetUS. They're sponsoring a lot of my videos this year coming up. Get 10% back on your net losses twice a year as well. BetUS is a really good sports book to wager on, and I've been using it a lot frequently. So last week I said Terry McLaurin over 58.5 receiving yards. Unfortunately, he didn't get close to that. He might have got it with the catch from Jayden, but he went under. So unfortunately, I was wrong on that one. Zach Ertz, no yak Zach, over 23.5 receiving yards. We did hit on that, guys. I gave that play out. Receptions 2.5. I like that a lot last week too against the Buccaneers, and we went over on that and just recapping that. And who else? Jayden Daniels, he went under 217.5 passing yards. I didn't tell you guys what I thought on that. I just wanted to wait and see because I didn't have a good gauge on that. I had a really good gauge on Zach Ertz because the Buccaneers pass defense, they give up a lot of yards, even though we weren't able to take advantage of that. But I knew Jayden and Zach Ertz had a really good connection. And I think Zach Ertz, his over-under is like 23.5 again, or it might be 26. And that's something I would take a look at. I might want to take that again. Now, for Jayden Daniels this week coming up against the Giants, I would definitely take a look at rushing yards. Rushing yards is probably going to be at about 50. He may go over that again. Rushing attempts last week was 8.5, so rushing attempts is something I may take a look at again. They don't want him to run again, but a lot of his runs are not design runs. These are runs that he's just deciding to do because the pocket's collapsing or whatever. He's not seeing things down the field, and he feels like he can go get 10, 15 yards, which he can do that anytime. Like 3rd and 8, he can go down and he can run and get you 15 yards. So I wouldn't really wager on passing yards right now. I would take a look at Zach, and I would take a look at Austin Eckler, his yards. Austin Eckler's receiving yards. I really like Brian Robinson's rushing yards this week because the Giants struggled against Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones had 97 yards on the ground against the Giants. So that's stuff that I would definitely take a look at right now. And those are the things that I really take. That would be nice to wager on the over for this week coming up against the Giants. They struggled against the run last year too. And I know it's not last year, but they struggled against the run with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones did whatever he felt like doing. He had 97 yards rushing, and then it was a blowout. So they didn't really throw the ball much. The Vikings didn't really throw the ball much against the Giants. Like Daniel Jones threw a pick six, a screen pass pick six to Van Nickel. Van Nickel's the same guy who actually did the same thing to Sam Howell last year, where Sam Howell threw a screen and the guy read it, and took it to the house. Like the same exact thing he did last. He just did that to Daniel Jones. The same linebacker did the same thing to Daniel Jones on Sunday. So you just got to catch interceptions against Daniel Jones. That's going to be a huge thing. You got to catch interceptions. You got to like nice things. You got to ball is life. You got to catch. He's going to throw it our way. You just got to take advantage of catching interceptions. That's going to be a big thing. But once again, shout out to Bet US. Make sure you guys check it out. 125% deposit up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits with code YouTube 150. So I'm going to give you guys some props for this week for sure when they come out against the Giants. And then I would take a look at Wan'Dale Robinson for the Giants. I know Malik Neighbors, like everyone's going to be like, oh, over on Malik Neighbors receiving yards, but the guy I'm looking at is Wan'Dale Robinson. I think he's gonna be a tough cover because he's a speed receiver. We don't do well against any type of receiver, but receivers with speed that have wiggle and can make something shake like Wan'Dale Robinson can. I think that's gonna be a tough matchup for our guys. It's gonna be a tough matchup. All right, let's see. Get 50% pain says 17 is missing number 4. The only thing I'll say about that, and I won't talk about that much, is that number 4 gave him a lot of opportunities. Terry's a guy that does need a receiver to give him opportunities. Like, he needs that. You got to give Terry opportunities down the field. And that was the thing with Sam Howell last year. Like, he wasn't giving Terry a lot of opportunities down the field. And then when Jacoby Brissett came in, he gave Terry a lot of opportunities down the field. You can see the difference. You got to give Terry opportunities. He's a 50-50 guy. You got to give a 50-50 guy like that opportunities. You got to trust him. Like, you can't. Not everything with Terry is just going to be wide open where he's creating separation. There's going to be some chances. You got to take chances with Terry down the field. Excuse me. Ben said the new kicker sucks too. He made 70% of his field goals from 40 to 49, which is atrocious. Plus, he's got a weak leg. I don't think he'll be here too long. I agree with you on that. I'm not high on Siebert either. But, the thing is that when you get a kicker in this time of the year in September, all the good kickers are gone and they're usually signed, which is the case here. So you got to take what's out there. I'm not high on Siebert, so I don't think they're going to cut another guy unless he's as bad as Chris Blewett was. So I think we're just going to stay with what we got right now. Just don't kick the ball out of bounds. Don't do that. And at least make your 30, make your 45 and in. You got to make them. You can't miss a 45-yard kick. You just can't. Josh Jenkins said Noah Brown practiced today. Coach Quinn said his training that he could get on the field against the Giants Sunday. Yeah, he should. I don't see why he wouldn't, honestly. I was surprised to see that. I know he had the shoulder injury, and that injury was tough for him last year, but I'm just like, yeah, I mean, he's been practicing, and he practiced with Terry after practice. I mean, with Jayden after practice. So I was like, okay, yeah, he should be playing, but he was inactive, so we'll see what happens. Looking at the injury report, I don't even think he was on the injury report. Looking at it, honestly. Let me pull it up real quick. But I don't think he's on the injury report. So he should be available. We need him. We need any receiver help that we can get for sure. So he really needs to play. Pulling up the injury report right now. Noah Brown, he's not on the injury report. Just Johnny New's on the injury report. Zach Ertz did not participate today for rest. He's been in the league for years and years and years. Tyler Owens was limited with an ankle injury. Brandon Coleman, full participant. Emmanuel Forbes, thumb injury, full participant. Brian Robinson Jr., knee, full participant. Trent Scott, knee injury, full participant. And on the Giants side, Darius Slayton, concussion protocol, did not participate. Gunner, I'm not going to be able to pronunciate this guy's last name. Gunner, a wide receiver for the Giants, did not participate. Darius Musall did not participate. And then Nick McLeod, a defensive back for them, knee injury, did not participate. Micah McFadden, groin injury, he was a full participant. So Darius Slayton, he's a guy that's hurt us in the past too. He did not participate today in practice, so we'll see what happens with that. But like I said, Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors are just enough to really get by, honestly, against our secondary. It is. And then they got Jalen Hyatt too, who's a speed demon. So all three of those guys could hurt the secondary, like at any second. The only thing is just the quarterback. But once again, the quarterback is terrible against any other team, but against us, he decides to have a good game. So that's just the way it shakes out with Daniel Jones. Legendary one. Also, whatever Adam does, you have to let him rebuild. It will take time. We have to change our mindset. New team, same fan mindset. Yes, it's going to take time. Rome was not built in a day. I know that cliche, but it's going to take time. Jayden's a rookie quarterback. It's going to take time to learn and curve there. You got other guys that got to get to speed. Luke McCaffrey, a rookie. Ben Simmons, a rookie. Mike Samers's a rookie. And then you got a lot of guys on one-year deals. So we'll see what happens to that. Bobby Wagner is at the tail end of his career. He's on the last leg of the last chapter. He didn't look too good on Sunday. He was pretty slow. He had a couple of TFLs, but other than that, like he was, the screen pass on 3rd and 18, he just moved out the way. There's another screen pass where he tripped up over somebody. He just looked slow and lethargic. So he didn't look good. So can he improve and look better? And he didn't play all preseason. So is that a factor in it too? I'm not big on guys playing a lot of the preseason, but sometimes you do need to get some snaps. And I get it. Bobby Wagner's been in the league for years and years and years, but he looked pretty darn rusty. He looked like a guy that just hasn't played much at all. In the pass rush, they got to tackle. Jonathan Allen's got to tackle. Guys got to wrap up. They got to finish plays. It's like $100 move and a 10-cent finish. They got to finish. They got to get to the basket and make the layup. They were not able to do that against Baker Mayfield at all. 50% Payne said Ron thought it was a good idea to draft Gandy Golden. Gandy Golden's not in the league anymore. He retired, and then Sadiq Charles retired. That's crazy. Like both of those guys were 4th-round picks by Ron Rivera. Both those guys have retired within the span of that was the 2020 draft. So within a span of 4 years, both guys have retired. That's insane. That's ridiculous. And Sadiq Charles, he was slated to start for the Titans, but he said, "Forget it. I'm just retiring." And then Gandy Golden, he couldn't separate at all. And then he tried to transition to tight end, and he was like, "Forget it. I'm just going to retire and go to school." So that just kind of shows you how bad the drafts of Ron have been so far, how underwhelming and just how bad they've been. Raymond Johnson says, "Wait till JD5 starts connecting of them deep routes, then this offense is going to be something special." Yeah. I think he'll get it together. The game will slow down for him. He was probably had some jitters there. Wasn't seeing down the field. Like I said, the B-Rob pass was bad. Then he missed Terry down the field. He missed Zach Ertz. So there's a couple plays that you can pinpoint. And then will he run to look for a pass downfield instead of running to run? Will he keep his head up and look downfield while he's running? I don't mind the running. Like 16 attempts, yes, is a lot. That is a lot. And I'm not gonna say I don't mind it, but I get if he sees a lane, go do it because that's what makes him him. I don't want him to dial back running too much, but because that's what makes him him. His running ability and the threat that he has with his legs, it really puts a lot of pressure on the defense. So I do want him to use his legs to throw the ball. But if he sees a lane where he's like, "Hey, I can get 10 yards pretty easily here or 15 yards and run down the sideline," go ahead and do it. There was one time where he just stayed in bounds. Like he was just tiptoeing on the sideline, and he got like 17 yards off a scramble. It was really fun to watch. But he's got to be a better passer out there. He had a 50 PFF grade. I know PFF is not in the end all be all, but he did miss some plays. The fumbles hurt his grade too. He had 3 fumbles. But yeah, once he gets going, once he gets the connection with Austin Eckler and Terry and Noah Brown and guys down the field, I think he will be a really, really good quarterback for years and years to come for sure. Just got to keep the helmet on. All right. Shout out to my man Kenny. That's my guy, channel member, elite channel member. He's always on the show, always a good guest, always playing basketball. A huge hooper out here, man. Make sure you guys check out his YouTube channel as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel as well and follow him on Instagram. Always giving good content, great content, always entertaining all the time. Great guy, stand-up guy for sure. He says Jay's about to go crazy. Yeah, I can see it this weekend. I think this is a good week to. I mean, every week's a good week to do it, but I think the Giants defense. I think he's going to be able to run the football. I think we're going to be able to run the ball against them. That's the big thing with Cliff too. We're going to have to run the football and create an identity there. I think there's going to be a good chance where B-Rob's going to get going. Once B-Rob gets warmed up and going, I think Jaden's going to, the RPOs, hit guys down the field. And we got to run the football against the Giants. Like I said, the Giants run defense. They struggled against Aaron Jones last week. And I think we can do the same with B-Rob. I think Jaden's going to have a good game as well. The Erico Show, he says, "What up, Ed? What you think about Dan Quinn and Joe Witt's defense the first game?" I wasn't impressed. Yeah, it was. I mean, nobody was impressed. I mean, they gave up 4 touchdowns to Baker Mayfield. He had a field day. I mean, it looked like Joe Montana, Steve Young, Vanilla Vic. I mean, he should be the NFC Player of the Week. Like, I'm trying to think who else. I know Cooper Kupp had a really good game, and who else in the NFC had a really good game last week. But yeah, Baker Mayfield, when they announced the NFC Player of the Week, he really legit might be the NFC Player of the Week. He really might be. Baker really might be the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. So yeah, I wasn't impressed. They weren't violent like Joe Witt Jr. or like Joe Witt Jr. said they were going to play violent and mean football. We're going to attack and take the ball away and ball his life. They didn't force a turnover. They gave up big plays. There was miscommunication. Big plays were given up to Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan. There was plays that Baker Mayfield missed Jalen McMillan. Jalen McMillan dropped a pass, so they could have been cut up even more. Bucky Irving had a really good second half. Bobby Wagner looked slow and lethargic. Jonathan Allen was missing tackles, not wrapping up. Emmanuel Forbes, double penalty on one play. So there's just many things that we can pinpoint that just did not go well for the Commanders defense at all. So nobody really stood out at all. So it was a bad performance. It was a bad performance. So I know it was the first game, so we'll give them a little bit of slack against a good team, a team that has good receivers and a good quarterback, and a team that's been together. They have good chemistry. They were all together there last year and they went to the playoffs, so they have chemistry. This team does not. We have a lot of guys on 1-year deals. Cleveland Farrell 1-year deal, Dorrance Armstrong 1-year deal, Jeremy Chin 1-year deal, Emmanuel Forbes looking over his shoulder and just he doesn't know what's going to happen next year. Jamin Davis, they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. So a lot of guys on 1-year deals for them. Michael Davis 1-year deal, Noah Ibenagbe 1-year deal. So a lot of guys on 1-year deals right now. So they got a long way to go. The defense they're gonna struggle. We knew the secondary was awful coming in. We knew the corners were not good. I think this, like I said earlier, this is the worst cornerback room in the NFL. And I'm pretty confident in saying that, unfortunately. Sean Gardner says Johnny Newton may play as well. Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. We will see. I'm hoping for it. I'm optimistic about him playing. I would love to see him out there, man, because he can be very impactful. He has a pass rush repertoire. He has counter moves. He's explosive. This guy blocked a kick in college. That just shows how explosive you are. Not only was he getting sacks, but he was blocking kicks in college. That's how athletic he is. That's how much an athlete that Johnny Newton is, or how he was in college. He is a legitimate pass rusher and a guy that can give Deron Payne a break. He played a lot of snaps in college too. He played a lot of snaps with a bad foot last year too. Brian Pape says, love the channel, Ed. Thank you, man. Shout out to you. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Ron was one of the greatest drafters of all time. We know that for sure. Yeah, he really was. Lonnie Broom says, hey, what's good? I just like to say if we don't get some help in the backfield, our season will be over before December. So are you talking about the backfield? Because if you're talking about the offense, I like our backfield. But if you're talking about defense, our secondary, yes, it's not good. But the backfield is pretty darn good. I like B-Rob. I like Austin Eckler. I like those two. I like those guys together. I like the way that I like when Cliff Kingsbury put those guys out there together as well. Oh, defense. Okay. Yeah. Quan Martin was okay. Jeremy Chin struggled a little bit. But yes, the secondary is not good. The pass rush really has to help them out. They got to wrap up. I mean, if they get one sack on Baker, if they at least can wrap up on one of those plays, that would be a big help for the secondary. But Emmanuel Forbes, he might be a lost cause. Ben St. Juste, he's got to turn his head around. He's got to catch interceptions. Michael Davis should play more. Noah he's more of a backup rotational guy. And then Mikey Sanders still got baptized by fire last week or on Sunday against Chris Godwin. So, like I said, this matchup should be easier for him, but at the same time, he'll be going up against Wan'Dale Robinson, possibly Malik Neighbors at times. So the Giants, they have talent. They have some talented receivers. They do. So that is a concern. Any receiver that has some type of talent, it's going to be tough for our corners. It just is. Like I said, I think we legit have the worst cornerback room in the league. And the coaches, they can only do so much because everybody was like, okay, it's a clean slate. It's a different staff. Joe Witt Jr. is going to make Emmanuel Forbes better, and Dan was going to make him better like they did with Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland. But some guys just are not good players. You got to look at it that way too. Sometimes you got to have the Joes. You got to have the talent here too. So coaching can only go so far. I know they're They did a good job with Dallas, but, like I said, a man force, he really might be a lost cause. He might be a lost cause. He said the current defense is a dust-up. Sean D says, only one game. We just let them get the jitters out, and if by week 4 they don't have it together, we are doomed. So everyone just relax and trust the process. This is a big game, man. Like, if they don't get it done this week, then, yeah, it will be a long season. You look at the numbers for teams that start out 0-2, they typically don't make the playoffs. And if you lose against a guy like Daniel Jones, who got booed leaving his own stadium by his home team fans and got his jersey burned by his home team fans, then it will be a rough week. And then after that, you play the Bengals on Monday Night Football, and the Bengals didn't look good either. So you might get a break against the Bengals. You might. Joe Burrow has an injured wrist, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't want to get too far ahead, but you got to beat Daniel Jones. No ifs, ands, or buts. You just got to beat Daniel Jones. You have to. That's a game where you got to take care of business at home. You got to beat Daniel Jones at all costs, whatever it takes. You got to force a turnover. You got to force a fumble. You got to catch an interception. You got to force a turnover this game. You can't make mistakes against the Giants either, but you got to force a turnover on Daniel Jones. He's going to throw one our way. Like, he's going to give us a chance. He's going to give us a chance. You got to capitalize on an opportunity. You really do. You have to. I know Andrew Thomas is a good lineman. He's a good left tackle. And then who else they got over there? Evan Neal is not their starter anymore. He basically got benched. They're starting right tackle now. Let me pull up the Giants depth chart real quick. Because Andrew Thomas is a good tackle. Evan Neal is basically a bust for them. He doesn't even start. Jermaine Alamanor is their starting right tackle. Greg Van Roten is their starting right guard. John Michael Schmitz and the OG Bobby Johnson. He knows their offensive line. Coach OG Bobby Johnson. So he should give us some intel about the guys over there. John Runyon, left guard, they just brought him in. But this could be a revenge game for OG Bobby Johnson here. Devin Singletary, they downgraded from, Saquon Barkley to Devin Singletary. So we got to stop the run. They got Malik Neighbors, Jalen Hyatt, Wandale Robinson, Darius Slayton, who's questionable. And they got Bryce Ford Wheaton as another wide receiver. So we got to take advantage of just going up against a mediocre quarterback. You have to. But like I said, it's hard to call him mediocre when, he's 5-1-1 against us overall. Burgundy and Gold 21 says we will struggle against the Giants like we always do. It's going to be a dogfight, guys. It's going to be a close game. It really is. It's going to be a very close game. It's going to be very close. It's going to be a low-scoring game, too, in my opinion. I think it's going to be around like 17-14, 20-17, something like that. Adam Rank had us beating them 21-2. That would be a hilarious score. Like, I would love that. It would be ugly because you can only get 2 points off of a safety, so we would give up a safety. But beating the Giants 21-2 would be beautiful. That would just be awesome. Because NFL Network, they usually pick us to lose, and I like that. I think like 9 out of the 10 people for NFL Network picked us to win. And that usually doesn't happen. Like, the Giants are so bad to the point where the national media is picking us to win. That's how bad they are. Jay Black says everyone making fun of Daniel Jones until he goes 25, 250 yards and 3 touchdowns this Sunday against us. He Vanilla Vic. And that's what I'm concerned about. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised at all. Daniel Jones, he plays really well against us. Honestly, but if you look at the numbers, like the numbers that he's played against the Commanders, his numbers have not been that great. That's the funny thing about it. Like, he wins against us, but the numbers, look at StatMuse here, but his numbers against us have not been that great. Like, the first time we played against us, he had 1 touchdown, 2 picks. That was in 2019. That was the game that Dwayne Haskins went in, and he didn't really play well. We were just bad. Like, we were just bad. So, yeah, the first game he went 23 for 31, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. And then the Chase Young Bowl, he went 28 for 42, 5 touchdowns, no picks. That was the game where he really played well. And then 2020, he went 12 for 19, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. and they beat us. And then 2020, he went 23 for 34, 212 yards. He only threw for 112 yards in that game in 2020. That was the game where we went for 2, where that was terrible by Ron, and we lost. Well, we should have just tied and went to overtime. Then 2020, again, he went 23 for 34, 212 yards, 1 touchdown, no pick. That game we lost. And then 2021, we beat them on Sunday Night Football or Thursday Night Football. He went 22 for 32, but he had a lot of rush yards that game too. That was the game where he had like 95 rushing yards. It's just something crazy numbers that he had. And then 2022, we lost both games. We tied, and then he beat us on Sunday Night Football where they cheated us, where the guy held Curtis Samuel. So, like, if you look at the numbers, like Daniel Jones' numbers have not been crazy against us, but you know, he does enough to win. Like, he makes big plays. Like, he made a 4th and 9 conversion against us on Sunday Night Football. I remember that, the game that we lost at home. So it's not like he's been putting up crazy numbers, but he just does enough. Like, the only game that he had that was really good was the Chase Young Bowl, and then the game that we lost where he ran for like 95 yards. But Daniel Jones has been so bad that he made Darren Waller retire, Kenny Galladay. He basically ended Kenny Galladay's career. He was so bad that Saquon just said, "I can't do this anymore." He went to the Eagles. Like, you look at Hard Knocks. All Joe Shane does in Hard Knocks is talk about drafting a quarterback, or even Joe Shane's son was like, if you want to be the GM and not get fired, you need to get Jayden Daniels. Like, they wanted Jayden Daniels badly. Brian Daboll wants another quarterback. Like, Brian Daboll be cursing out Daniel Jones on the sideline. Like, he'd be yelling at Brian Daboll will be yelling at Daniel Jones all the time, throwing his clipboard down, yelling at Daniel Jones. Like, the New York Giants organization is fed up with Daniel Jones. Like, they want to get rid of Daniel Jones so bad. So we cannot save this man's career. Even if he wins this Sunday, like, Daniel Jones knows he's a dead man walking. Like, he knows his career is basically over. Like, he's going to be a career backup for the rest of this year after this season, because they're drafting a quarterback. They wanted to draft a quarterback last year or this past year. They wanted Jayden Daniels. They wanted to trade up for Jayden Daniels, allegedly. They wanted Jayden Daniels. We saw the Hard Knocks episode where they wanted Jayden Daniels. Brian Daboll loved Jayden Daniels. So, I mean, it's rock bottom for Daniel Jones right now. Jayden Daniels, another stat for Daniel Jones. Where's the stat I had where he was really awful? Jayden Daniels, his QBR is 87.1 when he's kept clean, which is not good. 35.2 QBR when he's pressured, which is really awful. The other stat is that Daniel Jones, ever since Daniel Jones has signed the $140 million deal, some ridiculous type of money he got, he's thrown more pick sixes than touchdowns since he signed the contract. That's insane. It really is. That's really hard to do. That's really difficult to do. Throw more pick sixes than touchdowns. That's insane. And then a Vikings player said that he felt bad for Daniel. That's how bad it was. A Vikings defender said he felt bad for Daniel Jones. Like, when does a player come out and say, "I feel bad for you"? Like, that's the last thing a player says. In a competitive sport like football, saying that I feel bad for a guy, that's how bad the game was, that I felt bad for him. That's stuff that you really don't hear. I would never feel bad for my opponent, especially in the NFC East. I don't care how bad it gets. We're beating 40-0, 41-16, like we were beating up on the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I didn't give a crap. I didn't feel bad for anybody in that game. Yes, I am going in on Daniel Jones, but at the same time, I realize that we struggle against Daniel Jones. So everything I'm saying, I always say, hey, Daniel Jones is this bad, but at the same time, we're 5-1. We're 1-5 against Daniel Jones. So, and that's why I'm iffy on picking us against the Giants. Like, I can't say I'm 100% confident in picking us against the Giants. I will give my pick in the preview video that I do, but of course, it's like, hey, you know, Tommy DeVito and Tyrod Taylor beat us, so anything goes. You know, you just never. We sacked Tommy DeVito 10 times and we still lost. So, and the secondary did not look good last week. So they got a lot of things to clean up. They got a lot of things that we got to clean up this week. Shout out to me. Shout out to him. What's up, man? It's been a long time since I've seen you in here. We definitely gonna talk some Wizards basketball, even though the Wizards are gonna be bad this year. He says, "What up, Ed? I expect the defensive line and linebackers to play better, but the secondary are gonna be behind, or they're gonna be butt. thus this entire season. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think the secondary is not going to be good this year. We just don't have the personnel. Like I said, we don't have the guys. We don't have the Joes. Sometimes you got to have the guys. You got to have the talent. Like coaching can only go so far. Like when you got a man Forbes out there doing a face mask and a pass interference, like there's nothing you can. There's not much you can do. And then you got Noah I. Like it's personnel. I think a lot of it's just personnel, and some of it is coaching. Of course, it's their first time, and the secondary is gelling and whatnot. But some of it's just the personnel. The guys just not good enough. Ben St. Juice he's okay, and I don't think he was the problem. But miscommunication, they got to work on that. It's like every year we hear that miscommunication here, miscommunication that, and stuff like that. I'll always hear that, but we got to work on communication. And guys are just not talented enough on a roster too. That's a big part of it. Sunday says honestly this could be just me, but I feel like we were getting pressure almost every play, but just could not get Baker on the ground. Looked much better than last year though. Sanjay, yeah. So yeah, guys couldn't wrap up. John Allen was not able to wrap up. I feel like Deron Payne was not able to wrap up, and we've seen this many times before where guys have not been able to wrap up. They get home, but they're not able to wrap up. So they got to wrap up. They got to wrap up. They got to tackle Daniel Jones. They got to contain Will against Daniel Jones because he can scramble. He can run for first downs. We've seen him run, 50 yards down the field, especially against our defense in the past. So guys really got to wrap up on Daniel Jones. They really do. Noah I did look decent. Hold on one second, guys. I'm probably gonna wrap up in about 5 minutes, guys. But Noah I was decent. I'm gonna go over a couple PFF grades here before we wrap it up. And I guess one more stat that I did see here that I did find about Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels, yeah, he faced 5 rushers on 47.1% of his dropbacks last week against the Buccaneers, which was the second highest rate in week 1 against Tampa per next gen stats. He was pressured on 38.1% of his dropbacks, which was 7th highest. His average time to throw was 2.35 seconds, the fastest time in week 1. So he was pressured a lot. His pressure to sack ratio was pretty good, where it was a 16.7% pressure to sack ratio, which was good. I know that was a lot of things. That was something that people really knocked him on, his pressure to sack ratio. So he did a good job of that last week. He was able to evade the rush and get out of trouble. So that was good. Let's see here. Any other numbers that I saw? And Daniel Jones, there were some other stats where Daniel Jones was bad. Of all quarterbacks that throw at least 40 passes with an average target depth of 5.5 yards or less, Daniel Jones' completion rate was the worst since 2017. So he's been 22 of 42, 52% completion rate, which is pretty darn bad. But like I said, all that doesn't matter. It does not matter unless we beat Daniel Jones on Sunday. So you look at all the bad stats and metrics from Daniel Jones, how bad he's been over the years, but we know how that goes when he plays against us. So they got to step up. They got to be violent like they've been preaching. They got to take the ball away, ball is life. They got to do that on Sunday against Daniel Jones. And the crowd has to be loud too, guys. Whoever's going to the game, like that's going to be huge too. When you make noise during the huddle. Don't wait for the huddle to be done. So when the Giants are in their huddle, make sure if you're going to the game, make noise while they're huddling up so they can't hear. We have to make a hostile environment in Northwest Stadium. It's not FedEx anymore. It's Northwest. Beast mode, yes. So make sure, guys, be loud. If you're going to the game, Beast mode is going to the game. Be loud in the stadium, of course, when they're in the huddle. Not after they get the huddle done. Make sure you guys are making noise so it can be a hostile environment. I know there's going to be a lot of Giants fans, and even the Giants fans are done with Daniel Jones. But we have to make it a hostile environment. We gotta have some type of home field advantage at Northwest Stadium. That's going to be a big key there. Pressure on Daniel Jones, of course. But yeah, we got to take care of business. So we're like 2.5 point favorites right now. It's a pick 'em. So we'll see. But I'll probably wrap it up here, guys. Just want to thank you guys for tuning in on a Wednesday night. And I will be making a video Friday. Definitely doing a preview for the game. Excuse me. Shatter Limerick says there. Justo says there will most likely be more Giants fans at FedEx than Commanders fans, and you might be right. You might be right. I think honestly, this time I think there will be more Commanders fans there because it's the season opener for one. I think Giants fans, honestly, some of them have checked out on Daniel Jones, and they may not go. But Giants fans, they usually do. They do make a good showing. A lot of fans from other teams usually make a good showing in Northwest Stadium anyway. But I think this game, beast mode. I agree with you. I think it's gonna be a good crowd on Sunday. I think it's gonna be a good crowd. A Commanders game. It's the season opener. It's the first game of the season. I think there's some energy to see Jayden Daniels, Adam Peters, a new regime. I know the game last week was a letdown. Like, if they would have won that game or been competitive, I think we both would agree that it would be a lot of Commanders fans. Like, say if they would have won that game against the Bucs, it would have been probably 70 to 80% Commanders fans. Now, since we lost and didn't look good in the game, it may be like 60% Commanders fans, 40% Giants fans. There's going to be a good amount of Giants fans. I definitely believe that. There's going to be a good amount, but I think there will be more Commanders. I've been to games where there's been more Eagles fans than Commanders fans. The game where I went to last year was legit more Eagles fans than Commanders fans in the game. And we were still in playoff contention. Like, we were still being competitive at that time. So, Kenny says $4.95 going to be packed. Got to hit BJ's grocery store early. Yeah, for sure. Game starts at 1. So definitely gotta get your stuff in line and get ready for that for sure. Commies take it back Northwest. Yeah, that's what we want to see. We want to see that. We gotta take over. We gotta take over our own stadium. We gotta hold down the fort and defend our own stadium. But like I said, the fans, that is a key to victory too. Like the Commanders fans, we gotta put our left hands up. We gotta be loud. We gotta be loud for sure and make it a hostile environment for Daniel Jones. We have to. We gotta back our guys, but they gotta show up on the field obviously for sure. But all right, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. As always, thank you guys for checking in. Make sure you guys check out BetUS and make sure you guys check them out as well. YouTube, the code is YouTube50 for first-time users. Your first 3 deposits, you get 100% deposit bonus, 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits, up to $2,000 with code YouTube150 on BetUS. As always, thank you guys for tuning in and subscribing and liking. As always, Hail to the Commanders. I will see you guys on Friday. Hail to Commanders. Peace. Hopefully the stadium's sold out. We'll see. They're probably going to say it's sold out. There's a lot of times they say it's sold out, but it's not really sold out. So we'll see what happens with that. But all right, you guys. Hail to Commanders. Peace.